The red alert siren blared throughout the UEM's Mercy as Captain Elaine Murphy rushed onto the bridge. The medical frigate had been on a routine patrol through the Orion Arm when they received the distress signal. It was faint, using no recognized frequency pattern, but the universal distress marker was unmistakable. "Status report," Captain Murphy demanded, settling into her command chair. Lieutenant Olivia Garcia looked up from her communications station. "Signal originated from Sector 47, Captain. No known colonies or outposts in that region. Signal pattern doesn't match anything in our database." Murphy nodded, her gray eyes focused on the main view screen. At 53, she had seen more space emergencies than most. 3 interstellar conflicts had left her with a dusting of silver in her auburn hair and a reputation for unflinching calm. "Could be first contact," suggested Lieutenant Commander Paul Davis, the navigation officer. His fingers moved quickly over the control panel as he plotted the fastest route to the signal source. "Whatever it is, someone needs help," Murphy replied. "That's what we're here for. Set course maximum speed." The Mercy was the pride of Earth Union's medical fleet. While not particularly fast compared to military vessels, it housed the most advanced medical facilities outside Earth. 6 surgical bays, 200 patient beds, and a medical staff of 70 specialists made it a floating hospital capable of handling almost any crisis. Dr. Alan Winters stood beside the captain, his normally cheerful face serious. As chief medical officer, he had been awakened the moment the distress call came through. "My teams are prepping for unknown biology scenarios. Without knowing what we're dealing with, we'll need to be ready for anything." "Good," Murphy said. "Have your xenobiology team standing by. Garcia, keep trying to establish communication." The Mercy dropped out of faster-than-light travel 8 hours later. The ship that came into view on their screens was unlike anything they had seen before. It resembled a massive blue-green spiral shell, now cracked along one side with debris floating around it. Parts of the hull glowed with what looked like bioluminescent light pulsing weakly. "Life signs?" Murphy asked. Science Officer Ryan Cooper studied his readings. "Difficult to say with unknown biology, but I'm detecting movement and energy patterns, consistent with life. Atmosphere inside the vessel appears to be oxygen-rich but with high humidity and traces of elements we haven't cataloged." "They're taking heavy damage," Davis reported, pointing to a section of the alien vessel where the shell-like structure was breaking apart. "That ship won't hold together much longer." Murphy stood up. "Garcia, broadcast on all frequencies, universal. Greeting package. Let them know we're here to help." Minutes passed with no response. Then Garcia straightened in her seat. "Captain, getting something. Visual incoming." The screen flickered, showing a dimly lit interior filled with swirling mist. A creature moved into view. It stood upright like a human but was covered in what looked like a blue-green exoskeleton. Multiple limbs moved nervously, and large compound eyes reflected the light. When it spoke, the sound was a series of clicks and whistles. The ship's translator worked to process the unfamiliar language. Finally, broken words came through. "Stay away. Dangerous." They come back. "We are a medical vessel," Murphy replied clearly. "We're here to help. Your ship is failing. Let us assist you." The alien's response was untranslatable, but the body language, a retreat from the screen and what looked like defensive posturing, needed no interpretation. "They're afraid of us," Dr. Winters said quietly. Cooper spoke from his station. "Captain, I've analyzed the damage to their vessel. Those aren't stress fractures or collision damage. Those are weapons impacts." Murphy's expression hardened. "Someone attacked them, and they probably think we're here to finish the job," Winters added. Garcia called out urgently, "Captain, critical failure in the alien vessel's central section. They're losing life support." Murphy didn't hesitate. "Initiate emergency transport. Protocols. Davis, get us alongside that ship. Cooper, find me a stable section where we can dock. We're bringing them aboard." "Captain," Security Chief Frank Miller interjected, "regulations require consent for first contact medical intervention." "They're in no state to give informed consent," Dr. Winters argued. "The medical emergency protocols apply here." Murphy nodded. If they die while we debate regulations, what good are our protocols? Prepare boarding teams, medical and security, only. Within 20 minutes, the Mercy had maneuvered alongside the damaged alien vessel. The docking tube extended, attaching to what appeared to be an access port. Dr. Winters led the medical team, dressed in environmental suits as a precaution. Security Chief Miller and 4 officers accompanied them, weapons set to non-lethal. The interior of the alien ship was hot and humid. Water dripped from the curved ceiling, and the floor was covered in a thin layer of brackish liquid. Emergency, lights cast an eerie blue glow over everything. This isn't a military vessel, Dr. Winters observed, scanning the organic-looking walls. These look like living quarters or maybe a research ship. They found the first survivors in a large central chamber. At least 30 of the crustacean-like aliens were huddled together. Some were clearly injured, blue fluid leaking from cracks in their exoskeletons. When they saw the humans, several raised tool-like objects defensively. The translators struggled with their rapid clicking speech, but fragments came through. More hunters. Will take us. Fight. We're doctors, Winters said clearly, holding up his medical scanner. Healers. Your ship is dying. Come with us. One alien stepped forward, taller than the others, with markings on its shell that might have indicated rank or status. It made a complex series of gestures toward the injured members of its kind, then toward the humans. Miller tensed, but Winters understood. It's asking if we'll take the injured ones. All of you, Winters said, gesturing inclusively. We help all. The alien leader seemed confused by this concept. After conferring with others, it made what appeared to be a reluctant gesture of agreement. That was when the ship shuddered violently. Cooper's voice came through the comms. Doctor, that vessel is breaking up. You have 10 minutes at most. We need stretchers for the critically injured, Winters called back to the Mercy. And prepare Quarantine Bay 2 for triage. What followed was controlled chaos. Some aliens came willingly, helping carry their injured. Others had to be convinced, clearly terrified of the strange humans. A few remained hostile, requiring security officers to stay alert. As they rushed the last group through the docking tube, the alien vessel began to break apart. Captain Murphy ordered emergency undocking procedures. Everyone accounted for? She demanded as the boarding team returned. 37 aliens recovered, Miller reported. 4 of my security team suffered minor injuries from defensive actions. 8 critical cases already in surgery, Winters added, removing his helmet. His face was drenched in sweat. Captain, these beings are essentially aquatic. We're adapting Medical Bay 3 with higher humidity and saline content in the air. Murphy nodded, but before she could respond, Garcia called out from her station. Captain! 3 ships just dropped out of faster-than-light travel. They're on an intercept course and powering weapons. On the view screen, 3 angular vessels approached. Their design couldn't have been more different from the shell-like ship they'd just rescued survivors from. Hail them, Murphy ordered. The alien that appeared on screen had a rigid insectoid appearance with chitinous plates and multiple limbs. When it spoke, the translator rendered its words with chilling clarity. Human vessel. You have interfered with a Keldari hunt. Return our property immediately or be destroyed. Murphy glanced toward Medical Bay 3, where Dr. Winters and his team worked frantically to save lives. Then she looked back at the screen, her decision already made. This is Captain Elaine Murphy of the Earth Union medical ship Mercy. The beings aboard this vessel are patients under my protection, not property. We stand ready to render medical assistance to any who need it, including yourselves, but we will not surrender those in our care. The Keldari commander's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement or anger. You misunderstand, human. They are not yours to protect. Captain Murphy stood firm on the bridge of the UEM's Mercy, as the 3 Keldari ships took up attack positions around them. The medical frigate had minimal defensive capabilities, designed for rescue missions rather than combat. Shields at maximum, she ordered, but keep broadcasting our medical vessel status on all frequencies. Lieutenant Garcia worked quickly at her station. The Keldari are not responding to our hails, Captain. In Medical Bay 3, Dr. Winters and his team rushed between patients. The bay had been quickly modified with higher humidity and salt content in the air to accommodate the aquatic aliens. Nurse Beth Harris moved from bed to bed, scanning each patient with modified medical tools. Their physiology is fascinating, she told Dr. Winters. Their exoskeletons contain copper instead of calcium, and they have 3 separate circulatory systems. Dr. Winters nodded while performing emergency surgery on one of the most critically injured aliens. The creature's blue blood coated his gloves as he worked to seal a crack in its shell. They're remarkably resilient, he replied. This one has injuries that would have killed a human hours ago. A tall alien with distinctive shell markings watched from a corner of the medical bay. It had refused treatment despite minor injuries, insisting on observing the humans instead. Security Chief Miller stood nearby, keeping a cautious eye on their guest. Dr. Winters approached the alien after finishing the surgery. The translator device on his wrist attempted to process their communication. Your people, will they live? The alien asked in translated broken speech. We're doing everything we can, Dr. Winters replied. May I know your name or title? The alien made a series of clicks that the translator rendered as Zektal. It added, Ship Elder, why do you help us? Before Dr. Winters could answer, the ship rocked violently. The lights flickered and several medical instruments crashed to the floor. Back on the bridge, Captain Murphy gripped her chair as the Mercy absorbed another hit from the Keldari weapons. Damage report, she demanded. Lieutenant Commander Davis checked his console. Minor damage to the outer hull, shields holding at 60%. They're testing us, Murphy said grimly. That wasn't their full firepower. The main screen flickered to life again, showing the Keldari commander. Its insect-like features were difficult to read, but its posture suggested irritation. Human captain, it said, the translator making its voice sound metallic and cold. Your interference is illogical. The Velsari are not a sentient species by Galactic Council standards. They are resources, nothing more. Surrender them and you may continue your journey. Murphy's eyes narrowed. We recognize them as patient, sentient beings in need of medical care. That's all we need to know. Your medical protocols are irrelevant, the Keldari commander replied. The hunt has been sanctioned. Return our property within 1 orbital cycle or we will take them. The transmission ended abruptly. 1 orbital cycle? Murphy asked. Science Officer Cooper checked his readings. About 3 hours, Captain, based on the nearest planetary body. Murphy pressed her comm badge. Dr. Winters, status report. 8 critical patients stabilized, came the doctor's voice. 4 may not make it without specialized care. The rest are responding well to treatment. And our guests, how are they behaving? There was a pause before Winters answered. Confused, Captain. Their elder Zektal keeps asking why we're helping them. I don't think they understand the concept of medical assistance without obligation. Keep me updated, Murphy said, and try to learn more about the Keldari if you can. She turned to her communications officer. Garcia, contact Earth Union Command. We need diplomatic and possibly military support. The nearest Earth Union vessel is 4 days away at maximum speed, Garcia reported after checking. Murphy nodded, grimly. Then we're on our own. In Medical Bay 3, Dr. Winters continued his conversation with Zektal. The alien had agreed to sit on an examination table, though it still refused treatment for its injuries. The Keldari hunt us for our shells, Zektal explained. The translator struggled with complex concepts, but the meaning was clear enough. When we grow, we shed old shells. These have properties they value. They attacked you just for your discarded shells? Nurse Harris asked in disbelief. Zektal made a gesture that might have been a shrug. Younger Velsari not shed yet. They break shells while still wearing. More valuable that way. Dr. Winters felt sick at the implication. They're harvesting your people while they're still alive? Resources, Zektal clicked, the translator unable to convey the emotion behind the word. Not people to them. Well, you're people to us, Dr. Winters said firmly. And this is a medical ship. We don't surrender patients. Zekatal studied him with compound eyes that reflected the medical bay lights. Why name ship Mercy? The question caught Winters off guard. Mercy means compassion, kindness toward those who suffer. It's a core value of our medical service. Not understand, Zekatal replied. In our language, closest word means weakness that benefits enemies. Before Dr. Winters could explain further, a young medical officer burst into the bay. Doctor, the Keldari just launched something at us. Not a weapon, some kind of probe. On the bridge, Captain Murphy watched as the small spherical object attached itself to the hull, near Medical Bay 3. What is that thing, Cooper? She demanded. The science officer studied his readings. It appears to be some kind of scanner, Captain. It's penetrating our hull with narrow beam radiation. They're looking for the Velsari, Murphy realized. Can we dislodge it? Not without sending someone outside, Davis replied. Murphy made her decision quickly. We can't let them track our patients. Miller, assemble a team for EVA. Before Security Chief Miller could respond, Garcia called out, Captain, the probe is broadcasting something into the ship, some kind of signal directed at Medical Bay 3. In the medical bay, the Velsari patients suddenly became agitated. Several rose from their beds, moving toward the walls in apparent confusion. What's happening? Dr. Winters asked Zekatal, who was also responding to the signal, antennae vibrating. Control frequency, Zekatal struggled to explain, fighting whatever influence was affecting the others. Keldari used to hurt us, makes young ones obey. Dr. Winters hit his comm badge. Bridge, the Keldari are using some kind of control signal. On our patients. Several of the younger Velsari began clawing at the walls, moving toward the hull breach where the probe had attached. Their movements were jerky, unwilling. They're trying to make them break out of the ship, Nurse Harris realized in horror. Captain Murphy didn't hesitate. Cooper, can we jam that signal? Working on it, the science officer replied, fingers flying over his console. The ship rocked, again as another Keldari blast hit them, stronger this time. Shields at 40%, Davis reported. They're getting serious. Murphy stood up. So are we. Prepare for evasive maneuvers, and someone get that probe off my ship. Security Chief Miller and 2 officers rushed through the corridors of the Mercy, heading for the airlock nearest to the Keldari probe. They wore standard EVA suits, each carrying tools to remove the unwelcome device. Bridge, we're at airlock 7, Miller reported. Preparing to exit. Be careful, Chief, Captain Murphy responded. Those Keldari ships are still out there. As Miller and his team prepared for their spacewalk, chaos erupted in Medical Bay 3. The young Velsari patients continued to respond to the Keldari control signal, moving jerkily toward the outer hull. 2 of them had already damaged medical equipment in their forced march. Dr. Winters looked to Zekatal, who seemed to be fighting the influence better than the others. How do we stop this? The Velsari elder's shell quivered with effort. Signal, strongest on young. I resist, somewhat. Nurse Harris scanned one of the affected Velsari with her medical device. Doctor, look at these readings. The signal is stimulating their central nervous system directly. Dr. Winters thought quickly. If it's a neural response, maybe we can block it. He rushed to a supply cabinet and returned with several hyposprays. This is a neural inhibitor. It might dull the signal's effect. He administered the medicine to the nearest affected Velsari. Within seconds, the alien's movements became less jerky, though it still seemed distressed. It's working, Nurse Harris said. But we have 29 more patients to treat. Dr. Winters handed her several hyposprays. Start with the youngest. They seem most affected. Outside the ship, Miller and his team cautiously approached the Keldari probe. It was embedded in the hull, pulsing with a faint blue light. I don't like the look of this thing, said Officer Diane Riley, scanning the device. It's putting out some kind of radiation I've never seen before. Miller studied the probe. We need to remove it without damaging the hull further. He reached for a tool from his belt and carefully began to work around the edge where the probe met the ship's surface. Suddenly, a warning flashed in his helmet display. Movement! Keldari ship approaching our position. On the bridge, Lieutenant Garcia called out, "Captain, one of the Keldari vessels is breaking formation. It's heading directly for our EVA team." Captain Murphy reacted instantly. "Davis, interpose." "The Mercy between that ship and our people." Garcia warned Miller to get back inside now. The Mercy's engines fired, moving the large medical frigate to shield the vulnerable EVA team. The Keldari vessel fired, a bright energy beam striking the Mercy's shields. "Shields at 20%, Davis reported as the ship shuddered. "Miller, status?" Murphy demanded. Outside, Miller worked frantically at the probe. "Almost got it, Captain. Just need 30 more seconds." Officer Riley pointed suddenly. "Chief, look." A smaller craft had detached from the Keldari vessel and was moving rapidly toward them. It looked like a boarding craft. "They're trying to board us," Miller realized. "Captain, we've got company coming." In Medical Bay 3, Dr. Winters and his team had managed to treat most of the affected Velsari with the neural inhibitor. Zakatal approached the doctor, moving with more confidence now that the signal's effect was reduced. "Human doctor," the translator, rendered the Velsari's clicks. "Why risk for us? Keldari stronger, many ships." Dr. Winters continued working as he answered. "Because you need help. That's what we do." "Not logical," Ziktal replied. "No benefit to humans." "The benefit is saving lives," Dr. Winters said. "That's why this ship exists." Before Ziktal could respond, the ship rocked violently. The lights flickered and went out, replaced seconds later by red emergency lighting. Captain Murphy's voice came over the comm system. "All hands prepare for boarding. Keldari forces are attempting to enter the ship near Airlock 8. Security teams respond." "Medical personnel, secure your patients." Dr. Winters turned to his staff. "Move the critical patients to Inner Bay 1. It has separate life support and security doors." As medical staff began transferring patients, a young Velsari, little more than a child by their standards, grabbed Dr. Winters' arm. Its shell was a lighter blue than the adults, and cracks from Keldari weapons were still visible despite treatment. The translator struggled with its simpler speech patterns. "Humans die because of us." Dr. Winters knelt to be at eye level with the young alien. "We're not planning on dying, but yes, we'll fight to protect you if we have to." The young Velsari made a gesture that needed no translation, reaching out to touch Dr. Winters' face with a gentle appendage. Near Airlock 8, Security Chief Miller and his team had barely made it back inside before the Keldari boarding craft attached itself to the hull. They took up defensive positions in the corridor, setting their weapons to stun. "They're cutting through," Officer Riley warned, watching the airlock door glow red at the edges. Miller pressed his comm badge. "Bridge, they're coming through Airlock 8. We're outnumbered." "Hold them as long as you can," Captain Murphy replied. "Help is on the way." The airlock door burst inward with a shower of sparks. Through the smoke stepped 3 Keldari warriors, each nearly 7 feet tall with insectoid features and armed with energy weapons. Their chitinous armor gleamed in the emergency lighting. Miller didn't hesitate. "Fire!" Stun blasts hit the lead Keldari, who staggered but didn't fall. The aliens returned fire, their weapons leaving scorched holes in the corridor walls. Officer Riley cried out as a blast caught her in the shoulder, spinning her around. On the bridge, Captain Murphy received the reports with growing concern. "Davis, status of the shields?" "Below 15%, Captain. One more direct hit and they'll fail completely." Garcia looked up from her station. "Captain, the Keldari commander is hailing us again." "On screen," Murphy ordered. The Keldari's face appeared, mandibles clicking in what might have been amusement. "Your resistance is pointless, human captain. Our boarding party will collect our property. Stand aside and we may yet allow your vessel to leave." Murphy's face hardened. "Those property claims don't impress me, Commander. The beings aboard this ship are patients under medical protection." "Medical protection," the Keldari repeated, the translator giving the words a mocking tone. "An interesting concept. Does it extend to your own crew? Several have already been injured defending these worthless creatures." "All life has worth," Murphy replied firmly. That's what the name Mercy means. The Keldari commander made a dismissive gesture. Your human concepts mean nothing. The hunt will be completed. The screen went dark, and seconds later the ship rocked with the strongest impact yet. Shields failing, Davis called out. In the corridor near Airlock 8, Miller and his remaining security officers fell back under heavy Keldari fire. More boarding. Craft had attached to the hull, and Keldari warriors poured into the ship. In Medical Bay 3, Dr. Winters and his team hurried to move the last patients to safety. The young Velsari who had touched his face now helped another injured one move toward the inner bay. Ketal approached Dr. Winters again. Why name medical ship after weakness concept? Despite the chaos around them, Dr. Winters paused. Mercy isn't weakness, it's strength. The strength to help others even when it's difficult or dangerous. The ship shuddered again as another Keldari blast hit them. Captain Murphy steadied herself as another blast rocked the Mercy. With shields failing and Keldari boarders inside the ship, the situation was becoming desperate. Davis, get us moving, she ordered. Evasive pattern Delta. We need to put some distance between us and those ships. Engines responding, but barely, Davis replied, his fingers dancing across the controls. The last hit damaged our main propulsion system. Murphy pressed her comm badge. Engineering status report. Chief Engineer Kate Rodriguez's voice came through, accompanied by the sound of alarms. We've got problems, Captain. The hit to our engines damaged coolant systems. I've got teams working on it, but we need time. Time is something we don't have, Chief, Murphy replied grimly. Do what you can. Throughout the ship, the crew of the Mercy fought to protect their vessel and their patients. Security teams engaged the Keldari boarders in several corridors, falling back step by step toward the central areas of the ship. In Medical Bay 3, Dr. Winters and his team had moved almost all patients to the more secure Inner Bay 1. Only Zektal and 2 other adult Velsari remained, having insisted on helping with the younger ones. A loud explosion rocked the outer doors of the medical bay. Dr. Winters looked up in alarm. They're coming through! Nurse Harris grabbed the last of the medical supplies. Doctor, we need to seal the inner bay now. Dr. Winters looked at Zaktal and the 2 other adult Velsari. Come with us, we need to go now. Zaktal made a series of rapid clicks that the translator struggled to keep up with. No, we 3 will stay. Slow them down. That's suicide, Doctor. Winters protested. Zakatal's compound eyes reflected the red emergency lights. Learned new word today, mercy. Now we show mercy to young ones by giving time. Before Dr. Winters could argue further, the outer doors began to glow red as Keldari cutting tools worked on them. Nurse Harris pulled at his arm. Doctor, we have to go. With a last look at the 3 Velsari, Dr. Winters backed into the inner bay. The heavy security doors closed just as the outer doors of Medical Bay 3 burst open, and Keldari warriors poured in. On the bridge, Lieutenant Garcia's console lit up with a new alert. Captain, I'm detecting multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. Murphy's heart sank. More Keldari? Garcia studied her readings, then looked up in surprise. No, Captain, they're Velsari ships. At least 6 vessels, much larger than the one we rescued. On screen, Murphy ordered. The view screen showed 6 massive spiral-shaped vessels appearing around them. Unlike the damaged ship they had found, earlier these were clearly warships with weapon ports visible along their shells. They're hailing us, Garcia reported. Put them through, Murphy said, straightening her uniform. The screen showed another Velsari, its shell a deeper blue with intricate patterns that suggested greater age or rank than Zektal. When it spoke, the translation came through clearer than before, as if the ship's computer had adapted to the language. Human vessel, this is Fleet Commander Vikalar of the Velsari Defense Force. We received distress signal from research ship 7 cycles ago. You have our people aboard? This is Captain Elaine Murphy of the Earth Union medical ship Mercy. Yes, we rescued survivors from a Velsari vessel under attack by Keldari hunters. We have 37 of your people aboard, many injured. The Keldari are currently boarding us to take them back. The Velsari commander's antennae twitched in what might have been anger. Stand by, human captain. We will assist. The Velsari warships moved with surprising speed, two of them positioning themselves between the Mercy and the Keldari vessels. The others spread out in attack formation. The Velsari ships are powering weapons, Garcia reported. Murphy watched as the Velsari opened fire on the Keldari vessels. Their weapons were different from anything she had seen before, sending out rippling energy waves that seemed to pass through the Keldari shields with ease. "Captain," Davis called out, "the Keldari boarding craft are detaching from our hull. They're retreating to their ships." Throughout the Mercy, the Keldari boarders suddenly broke off their attacks and began moving back toward their entry points. In Medical Bay 3, the warriors who had been confronting the three brave Velsari received orders to withdraw. Security Chief Miller, nursing a wound to his arm, reported from Deck 4. "Captain, the Keldari are pulling back. Should we pursue?" "Negative, Chief," Murphy replied. "Let them go. Secure those airlocks once they're clear." On the view screen, two of the Keldari ships were already turning away, clearly damaged by the Velsari attack. The third, the command vessel, remained in position a moment longer. The Keldari commander appeared on screen one more time. "This is not over, human captain. The Council will hear of your interference in sanctioned hunting grounds." Before Murphy could respond, a Velsari energy wave hit the Keldari ship, causing the transmission to cut off. The final Keldari vessel turned and accelerated away, soon followed by its damaged companions. In Inner Bay 1, Dr. Winters and his medical team worked to stabilize patients affected by the chaos. The young Velsari, who had touched his face earlier, approached him again, making questioning gestures toward the outer bay. Dr. Winters realized it was asking about the three adults who had stayed behind. "I don't know," he said gently. "Let me check." He approached the security door and opened a small viewing port. To his surprise, all three Velsari stood in the outer bay, apparently unharmed. Skatal noticed him and approached the door. "Keldari gone." The translator rendered the elder's clicks. "Your ship safe now?" "Yes," Dr. Winters replied, opening the security door. The Velsari fleet arrived. They drove the Keldari away. Zikatal's antennae raised in what might have been surprise. "Our fleet came? For research vessel?" "For your people," Dr. Winters corrected. "Just like we came for you when we heard your distress call." Captain Murphy's voice came over the comm system. "Dr. Winters, please bring Zekatal to the bridge. The Velsari commander wants to speak with both of us." When Dr. Winters and Zekatal arrived on the bridge, they found Captain Murphy in conversation with the Velsari commander on the main screen. The massive spiral ships were now positioned in a protective formation around the Mercy. "Ah, here they are," Murphy said. "Commander Viklar, this is our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Alan Winters, and Zekatal, elder of the research vessel we rescued." The Velsari commander's attention focused on Zekatal, and they exchanged a series of rapid clicks that the translator couldn't fully process. Then the commander turned back to Murphy. "Captain, our scans show your ship has sustained significant damage. We can provide repair assistance and medical support for your injured crew." Murphy smiled slightly. "That's very kind, Commander. We would appreciate the help." "It is not kindness," Viklar replied. "It is..." The translator paused, searching for the right word. Finally it said, "It is mercy." 6 months later, the UM's Mercy approached a new sector of space. The medical frigate gleamed in the light of an unfamiliar star, its hull showing no signs of the battle it had survived. Beside it traveled two spiral-shaped vessels, their blue-green, shells marked with the universal medical symbol. On the bridge, Captain Elaine Murphy stood before her crew. A small piece of Velsari shell hung on a chain around her neck, a gift from Zekatal before the elder had returned to his people. "Today marks a historic occasion," Murphy said. "We begin the first joint human Velsari medical mission. Our ship will serve as the training vessel for the first Velsari medical cruise." Lieutenant Garcia smiled from her communication station. "The Velsari ships are signaling readiness, Captain. They're eager to begin." "Tell them we're ready too," Murphy replied. "Dr. Winters is waiting in Training Bay 1. In the specially modified bay, Dr. Alan Winters checked his equipment one last time. The room had been adjusted to accommodate both human and Velsari biology, with higher humidity in some sections and standard Earth conditions in others. The doors opened, and 20 Velsari entered. Their shells gleamed with health, each marked with a small red symbol matching the one on Dr. Winters' uniform. At the head of the group walked a familiar figure, the young Velsari who had touched Dr. Winters' face during the Keldari attack. "Welcome," Dr. Winters said, smiling at the group. "I'm honored to be your instructor." The young Velsari stepped forward. When it spoke, the translator rendered its clicks in a voice that sounded almost eager. "We are honored to learn, teacher. Winters. I am called Mercy Vigtal now." Dr. Winters raised his eyebrows in surprise. "You've taken a human name?" "Not just human name," Mercy Vigtal replied. "New concept. Important concept. Many Velsari now study this idea." Another Velsari added, "Our people never had medical ships before. Injured were left behind. Now we change." Dr. Winters nodded, deeply moved by their words. "Well then, let's begin. Today we'll cover emergency triage protocols. How to decide who needs treatment first when there are many injured." As the training session progressed, Captain Murphy received a visitor on the bridge. Commander Vikalar arrived via transport from one of the Velsari vessels. The bridge crew stood respectfully as the tall Velsari entered. "Commander, welcome aboard the Mercy," Murphy said, extending her hand in the human greeting they had taught. The Velsari Vikalar touched her hand with a gentle appendage. "Captain Murphy, your ship looks well after repairs." "Thanks to your engineers," Murphy acknowledged. "They taught us as much as we taught them." The commander's antennae moved in what Murphy now recognized as their version of a nod. "I bring news from the Galactic Council." Murphy gestured toward her ready room. "Let's talk privately." Once inside, Vikalar shared the news. The Keldari filed formal complaint against Earth Union and Velsari people. They claimed interference with hunting rights. Murphy's face hardened. "And the Council's response?" "Council rejected complaint," Vikalar replied, his translator conveying satisfaction in his tone. "More important, they recognized Velsari as full sentient species with all protections. Keldari hunting now prohibited." "That's wonderful news," Murphy said sincerely. "Because of your mercy," Vikalar added. "Your actions made Council investigate. They found our mathematics, art, culture, things Keldari had hidden in their reports." Murphy shook her head. "We just did what was right." "Right is not always common," Vikalar responded. "There is more news. 17 other species have contacted Velsari and Earth Union asking about medical ships. They want to build their own." 17? Murphy was astonished. "Many watched what happened," Vikalar explained. "Recording of your ship protecting our people, continuing medical care under attack, this was shared widely. It changed minds." In Training Bay 1, Dr. Winters was demonstrating emergency procedures when his comm badge beeped. "Winters here." "Doctor," came Captain Murphy's voice, "when you finish today's session, please join me in the observation lounge. We have some exciting news to share with our students." "Will do, Captain," he replied, then turned back to the class. "Now, who can tell me the first step in treating a plasma burn?" Mercy Vigtal raised an appendage. "Scan for internal damage. Surface signs may not show true injury." "Excellent," Dr. Winters said proudly. Later, in the observation lounge, the human crew and Velsari trainees gathered. Through the large windows, they could see a small planet below, its surface mostly covered in oceans with scattered islands. "Captain," Murphy addressed the group. "This planet marks the border of what was previously considered Keldari hunting territory. It's now been designated as a medical way station, jointly operated by Earth Union and the Velsari." She activated a display showing plans for a large facility. "Construction begins next month on the first permanent joint medical base. It will serve all species in this sector, regardless of origin or alliance." Mercy Vigtal moved forward to view the plans more closely. "What will it be called?" Murphy smiled. "That's why I called you all here. We'd like your input on the name. One of the human crew suggested, how about Hope Station? A Velsari trainee clicked rapidly, the translator rendering it as, perhaps Life Sanctuary? Dr. Winters looked at Mercy V. Catal. What do you think? The young Velsari's shell colors shifted slightly, and what the humans had learned was their version of emotional display. I think Humanity Station. The room fell silent for a moment. But we're building it together, Lieutenant Garcia said. It's not just a human project. Not named for human species, Mercy Victal clarified. Named for concept we learned from humanity. Caring for others because they exist, not because of what they can give back. Captain Murphy exchanged glances with Commander Vicalar, who had joined them in the lounge. I think it's perfect, she said softly. 1 month later, Captain Murphy stood on the bridge as the Mercy prepared to return to Earth for resupply. The newly commissioned Velsari medical ships would continue the mission with a partial human crew. Status report, Lieutenant Davis, she requested. All systems normal, Captain. Velsari vessel standing by to take over patrol of the medical corridor. Murphy nodded with satisfaction. Send our final transmission to Humanity Station. Let them know we'll return in 3 months with the new training staff. As the Mercy turned toward Earth, Murphy looked at the small holographic display on her console. It showed a real-time image of the construction at Humanity Station. Already the framework was taking shape, with Earth and Velsari ships working, side by side. Next to it was another image, the newest Earth Union vessel under construction back home. The largest hospital ship ever built by humans, it would carry twice the medical capacity of the Mercy. Its name was already painted on the partially completed hull, UEMS Humanity. When asked why the new flagship of the medical fleet wouldn't carry a traditional virtue name like Mercy, Compassion, or Hope, the Earth Union Admiral had simply said, because we finally understood what those virtues truly mean.